Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the February 26th meeting of the Chatham Finance Committee. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly thereafter for scheduled and non-event viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone is recording the meeting, including the use of AI note-taking apps, please notify the chair. There seemingly none. Pursuant to Governor Healy's signing of Chapter 2 of the Acts of 25, extending certain COVID-19 measures adapted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law until June 30, 2027. This meeting of the Chatham Finance Committee is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling 508-945-4410. Again, 945-4410, and enter conference ID 981-350-211. 981-350-211, hashtag or pound sign. Or one may join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. And we are going to continue our work with respect to voting on various warrant articles for town meeting. And we'll start with a call to order. Tommy Doan, I know, is not here. Barbara Madison is on her way. John Papalardo is floating in the Caribbean somewhere. Joanne Sprague.
Here.
Andy Young.
Here.
Kristen Andres.
Here.
Tracy Shields.
Here.
And the chair is present. We do have a quorum, however tenuous. So with that, we will turn it over to Carrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joanne, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Until next week, I'm not hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No problem. So we're going to be going over the operating and capital for FY 2027 and any changes that have been made since January. So as of right now, our operating budget is at $47,295,970 without education. And that is a 4.7% increase over FY 2026. A decrease of $43,124 over the prior proposed from January of $47,339,094. And I'll go over the changes with you. So this slide goes over the decreases that were made for the budget in the amount of $163,000. There was a decrease for the Barnstable County Retirement Assessment. I had made an estimate based on previous years. So it came in $30,430 less than what I estimated. The health insurance is decreased by $87,146. As you know, you heard the schools talking when they presented their budgets. It came in at 8%. We're still looking at 8% plus the 19% for the medics. So this is a decrease of $87,000 for the estimate that I had proposed in January. The fire department dispatch assessment was decreased by $28,256. Justin did go over this with you when he did his presentation. The dispatch is a regional assessment, and they received their state funding, so it was reduced. And the natural resource department temporary wages was reduced by $12,000, and this was for originally budgeted for a retired employee who was completing assistance on special projects and grants that he was working on, and he's no longer with us, so remove that from the budget. The increases to the FY 2027 budget amount to $119,978. After listening to all of the budget meetings with the select board and you guys in the finance committee, I increased the snow and ice budget by $55,000, so it's now up to $150,000. The veterans assessment and benefits increased. The assessment was increased by $1,147,000, and then there was an additional veteran that came on for benefits, so I want to make sure there's enough funding in there. So I increased that also by $10,000, so that's an increase of $11,147. The moderator expense line was increased by $50, and that's due to his dues. They're $100 for the year, and his expense line is only $50, so every year he goes over. The elected officials' salaries increased $10,800. Town band was increased by $1,200. Seasonal salaries, we made a market adjustment for the seasonal salaries. That increased for most all of the salaries, seasonal salaries across the board by $30,801. And the assistant town manager position increased $8,980, and that's a transfer of $5,000 stipend from the town manager's budget to community development and a $3,980 increase for base pay. Does anybody have any questions?
Joanne, please.
Mr. Chair, have we voted on the increase for the elected officials' salaries yet?
You have not.
Will we
The
be,
select board has, you'll be voting on them after.
we'll do that before we vote on the whole budget?
You can if you like.
Well, it's part of it, isn't it?
It is part of it. The select board already voted on it, and they already voted on the operating budget last night, too.
All right, but to be clear, though, they're two separate articles. One's the
Yes.
operating budget for the town, the second is the particular potential increase in the
Oh, okay.
salary. So,
Yeah, yeah, they're two separate.
One is inside.
next two.
So, but if we don't vote for the increase in the salaries, that changes the figures for the whole budget. So,
Yeah, but not for doesn't change the operating budget, which is what we're going to be voting on, which Carrie is breaking out the increases and decreases within the operating budget, which is separate from an article to bump the select board salaries.
this is, okay, all right,
So
thank
yeah,
you.
if it doesn't go forward,
They're two separate.
overall town spending will go down by a couple $1,000s, but it doesn't affect the operating budget.
Even though on the screen it says increases $10,000. That's not an increase to the operating budget.
This is an increase to the operating budget, but you have to vote every year to fix the salaries, so it's two separate things. Because the article that you vote on for fixed salaries has nothing to do with the monetary money.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember ever separating that article, the part of the town budget, from the rest of the budget, the salaries for the selectmen.
We do, Andy?
That's been routine for, I don't know how many years. But the key is that it may be that small amount will be incorporated into the operating budget. But if that article on official salaries does not pass with that number, they don't get paid that number,
Correct.
all right? It essentially becomes an adjustment, all right? I guess.
Okay.
It probably adds to free cash, actually. By how much?
I'm sorry to prolong this.
$10,000.
No, we can throw it at the snow and ice
If we vote on the full
budget.
budget, we're voting on the original amounts for the selectmen.
We're voting on their request that is incorporated into the town's budget. But unless the specific article for elected officials' salaries agrees, they can't be paid the increased amount that they wish.
Right.
So we will be voting on them separately, is what you're trying to
Correct.
tell me.
Correct.
Yep,
And I
as
haven't
as
been
we
able to
typically do.
comprehend.
Yeah.
It just seems so different from, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome. So the next slide is just an overview of the actual for 2025, the budget for '26, and the proposed for 2027. This includes the school if you look at the screen. It's $59,749,448. Again, that includes the school's current proposed budgets. So I'll just go through the capital. So there was a decrease of $50,000 from the prior proposed amount of $2,490,500. So the current capital is proposed at $2,440,500. And the changes to that was the removal of $50,000. It was in the capital request for the exterior rehab project for the Harbor Master Office. It was approved by the CPC, so I removed this from our capital. There was a need for a front loader purchase for the DPW and transfer station. And that's in the amount of $200,000. It keeps breaking down, so it was like a high-need capital request. So I worked with Rob on this, and we found that there was extra funding in the original sewer collection repairs, so we reduced that by $70,000. And we reduced the $100,000 for road resurfacing because there was enough funding in there. And also reduced the $30,000 from the facility safety equipment repairs. There was enough funding in there. And we're getting extra Chapter 90 funds. We got some extra funds last year, and we're getting extra funds this year, so that will help with the road resurfacing as well. So the capital budget is presented again at $2,440,500, and it will be funded through free cash, $2,212,034. Waterways improvement funds at $115,000, the conservation fund at $10,000, the PEG Access Receipts Reserved for Appropriation Fund in the amount of $30,000, and there was a prior article in the amount of $73,466 that we'll be funding this with.
Carrie, could you provide us, please, just the rough balance currently in free cash?
After all of the articles and everything, there's $296,000.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Carrie? All right, let's keep going.
You already saw this, but I'm just going to mention it anyways. The Cape Cod Technical Regional High School, their assessment was reduced by $57,033. The original estimate was at $617,346, and it came in at $560,313. And the Monomoy Regional School District assessment came in currently. It might change. I was informed last night. Their original request was $11,979,723. It's now at a proposed budget of $11,893,165. And that's all I have.
Andy?
Carrie, by say it may change. In other words, this has yet to be voted on by the regional school district?
That's correct. So Cape Tech, they were supposed to vote their budget today, but it's been postponed due to the weather.
Yep.
And Monomoy doesn't vote their budget until March 12th. And this could be reduced a little bit more, is what I was told last night, so.
Tracy, please.
I was pleased to hear you mention other funding source for road resurfacing, because if that includes like potholes and things.
Yes.
I think this year is going to be a banner year for the need for that with all the freezing.
Yeah.
At least it feels that way on my car.
Yeah, no, there's, it strikes me there's a material increase in potholes.
Do you guys have any other questions?
Let's keep going.
That's all I have.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
just those few slides.
So, Andy, were you signaling a question? Okay. Can you put the slide back up that's got the total proposed, so we can start with one or the other? Either capital or operating?
So the operating budget is at 47,295,970.
Okay, so further questions from the committee? There being none, I'll take a motion to support the proposed operating budget, $47,295,970.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Joanne,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
the chair supports, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
And then
then-
capital?
The capital. We'll use this slide.
Okay, so revised capital budget, $2,440,500. Any questions for Carrie? Okay, there being none, I'll take a motion to support.
Move it. Second.
Thank you. Joanne,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Chair supports, 5-0.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, now I think we're gonna climb into the Wayback Machine and go back to articles that we had decided we were going to pause on. So let me find those. No, I know, I get my slip here.
Oh, I just want to mention, I do have Terry Whalen on, he's remote, if anybody has any questions on the Marconi Towers.
Okay, so in no particular order, we held the two Penrose-related CPC requests last week, as well as some of the other CPC articles that we didn't think we had enough information regarding. We also held on the Chamber of Commerce budget, which we also received information from Carrie on. So again, in no particular order, why don't we come back to the Assistance Resource Center, which is a $100,000 allocation for contributing to the funding of a new Assistance Resource Center, providing shelter and services for homeless individuals to be located in Hyannis. I know there were some questions around the duration that somebody might be able to stay there. I don't know necessarily that we received information on that, Carrie?
On what?
The homeless, the community, the Assistance Resource Center. That's the $100,000 allocation for the homeless
I did
program.
send you some information, there was a question,
I think
I
Barbara had,
have not heard from them,
okay,
back from them on that.
all right. Okay, questions on that? Otherwise I'll go to the room. Mr. Phillips?
Brian Phillips, 370 Orleans Road. So I worked as a security guard for about 3 years at the bus stop, the bus station in Hyannis. So I had a lot of interactions with the homeless, and I did ask a lot of questions about these, one of the shelters that they use. This is by no means like a college dorm party. It's very strict, it's very regimented. You have to be, you have to check in by a certain time. I think it's like 8 o'clock, or else you can't, you can't get into the shelter afterwards. There's like a no drug, no alcohol policy. If you're under suspicion of doing drugs, alcohol, they have, the right to drug test you. They make you check your phone in. You're not allowed to use your phone at night. So this is really for people who need it. A lot of people that are working and just, don't have a place to live. This is not, kind of for the vagrants that choose to be on, the street. So I do think this is a good project. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Joanne, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is a problem, and particularly we hear about it in Hyannis. And I think this is a step in the right direction to begin.
Good, thank you, Joanne. Tracy?
I am comfortable voting on it without the resolution to those particular questions, but I know that Barbara was one of the ones who had expressed that, but I'm comfortable.
So I think what I'll do, I got a text from Barbara a short time ago saying that she was on her way. She just crossed over the bridge. She had a medical appointment. So why don't we table this kind of as long as we can for her to hopefully arrive in time, and we'll move it then. Let's put this one over here. All right, so then we had a hold on the Marconi Lattice Tower Preservation Project, and we did receive some architectural drawings, which I found to be very helpful, as well as scope of work materials. And I think we've got Terry on, yeah, Terry's here. So questions, or Terry, why don't we start with you if there's anything you want to inform us of? We just felt last week we didn't have any of the drawings, any of the backup supporting information. So if you'd like to speak to this article, and then it would be most helpful, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, apologize for that, not having that info in there for your last discussion. But basically, this is a follow-on project. Some of you might recall, we had funded studies out there of the structural conditions of the towers. We did go out to bid for all 3 towers, and that came in basically almost more than 2 times the budget that we had. We're making the repairs on one of the towers, and basically the request is to do the repairs on the remaining 2 towers. So that's kind of the overall context of the request. So again, the towers there are part of they're contributing structures to the historic Marconi RCA Historic District. So again, they're not functioning right now in any kind of capacity for radio transmission or anything, but again, they're part of the integral to the historical designation on the property. And then, in the package, excuse me, I think it's a couple of different packages, but again, basically it's just, all the work is up in the air, and it needs to be done to Department of Interior standards. So fairly detailed project from that perspective.
Yep. So to be clear, the drawings that were provided us encompassed all 3 towers. But this article, we already have funding for one of them, is what you're asserting, and that this is strictly for the other 2.
Right, for the remaining 2. So we're tackling the one right now, which is complicated, kind of working in the electric lines, which may not be working today, but complicated on the campus side of the project. And again, we also have some construction window issues here as well, with different things. So we're looking to rebid for the next 2 towers in the fall of 2026.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. Questions? Kristen, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Terry, I saw the attachment that we received in the mail, which was your presentation, I guess, your PowerPoint slides.
Yep.
What's the total? It looks like CPA money was $284,000 back in FY24. I think what I understood looking at the slides, the total project is $530,000 plus dollars. And then the CPA application said there was a request for $454. So if you could just explain what the total financial deal is.
Yeah, I have a slide, and maybe I can pull up a slide. But yeah, so essentially, you're right. The request was for much more than what the committee is, I guess, has the capacity to fund. So we've estimated based on the real prices we've gotten from the market on what we need to do. So, but the hope is that there's, going through this process, and getting some familiarity in different vendors. Again, it's kind of it is a unique project. That hopefully, again, at a minimum, we would get 1 tower again, or if there's enough economy and vendors are more comfortable giving us more realistic prices, better competition. We might be able to do that within within not only the allocation, but also the balance, if you will, in the CPA application.
So I guess the question I'm asking is, what's the total project cost for the renovation or the restoration of these 3 towers?
Well, taking out because the cost for the first tower is $189. And then the estimate would be the additional, let me pull up the slide here. Okay, so is it okay if I share my screen here?
Yeah, please, thank you.
Okay, sorry. Give me a couple seconds to get to that screen.
We can see that.
Okay, so again, if everything came in at the again, this is based on the estimate for the remaining. So the first tower is 189,000, and then depending on the prices, it could be as much as an additional 455, which would bring that total up to around 644,000.
Anything further, Kristen?
I guess, thanks, that's what I was looking for. And then,
Yeah,
and this has all been with CPA money, no other grants. This is all tax dollars through the CPA. Are they functional, or this is just to keep them standing?
It's just really for structural integrity, so that they're not a liability, but again, also furthering the interests of the Historical Commission on keeping the listing status. And then we also have a corresponding project that we talked about that sort of has an environmental component that we will be seeking some other funding, where we're actually looking, we still have some other we have a NOI in place, but a couple other things to potentially also move the one tower that's along the bank of Riders Cove, to move that back and put that on a new foundation. But that's more of kind of a climate adaptation project / restoration. And amazingly, the costs for that are not, it's more of a lot of the approvals are quite challenging on that, but basically it's just a foundation and a crane move, which is not as expensive as you would think on the prices we've gotten.
Joanne, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that the Marconi Maritime Museum is a museum that makes Chatham unique. And I see us spending money all the time on things that will have to be replaced and have to be renewed every year and updated. I think an investment of this type in this kind of museum for our town is really important. But the matter is, it does need to be watched over. And I have full confidence, or at least I'm starting with that the different departments in town and the Historic Society and the commissions will be able to keep this on track and make sure that the money is well spent. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Joanne. Tracy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought when Gary had come before us that their decision not to fund the full amount that was requested was based on them having difficulty developing a consensus about it, and then it was thought, well, let's do this amount to get a second tower, and then we can decide if we need a third tower. So what we're voting on is really just it would be just enough to complete a second tower with the remaining balance from before. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But again, hopefully, if we can structure or there's some chance that, with the balance and if there's more competition on it, that we could come in closer to that. So that's, but you're 100% correct. This is really, and I don't want to speak for the CPC, but their rationale, based on that slide that I just showed you, is they were basically saying, let's do one tower, definitely. And then, we'll do what else we can do. And again, or maybe find some other grant funding or other sources too, because we're going to be looking into that as well through the state, I think it's MPFF program
Okay,
in the interim.
all right, thank you, Jerry. I think it's an important project. I think this is a seminal moment in American history and global history, frankly. And I think to not try to preserve these towers would be an act of historic negligence. So with that, I will make a motion to support the proposed restoration of the second tower.
Second?
Thank you, Joanne. Roll call, Joanne.
Yes.
Kristen?
I'm going to vote no.
Okay.
Thank you.
Andy?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Chair supports, so 4-1. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Mill Pond Overlook Accessibility Trail. $125,000 for the funding of the Conservation Foundation's Overlook Trail, which is there, not readily accessible to people with mobility issues. Carrie, anything you'd like to speak to on this one?
I'm sorry, which one was it?
Mill Pond Overlook Trail.
Oh, the Mill Pond Overlook Trail.
And I don't think,
There was a question about public access.
Yep.
And the answer I got was, yes, there is public access to this project. It's specifically to create an accessibility trail to an area overlooking the Mitchell River, including the creation of a small parking area that will lead visitors right onto the trail, possibly located behind the Atwood House.
Kristen, please.
Yep. Okay, I just wanted to be clear that this would be publicly accessible at all times, because I know it is privately owned by the foundation. So I imagine there's sort of a restriction that, or something legal that requires it
That I,
publicly
that
available.
I am not
because
aware of. or
CPA funds.
I don't know. I just know that there is,
The intent is
the
there.
intent is there, yeah.
Okay,
To have
thank you.
public access to be able to get to the site.
And we've not seen any sketch or anything. There hasn't, nothing was presented to the CPC.
I sent you everything that I had.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I will note that I was on the board of the Historical Society twice, and there was always real reluctance on the part of the foundation to allow access back there historically. Clearly, things have changed, given that there is now a trail there, but that wasn't always the case. Joanne, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. From 2008, 9, 10, this committee has been trying to get all of our trails signed and accessible to the public, and this is important. And if you had as many family visitors as I do every year who enjoy these trails so much and feel safe on them, and because they're marked and they are accessible, I think this is very important for us to keep tabs on and make sure we keep all of our trails accessible to the public.
Okay, further comments or questions? If not, I will take a motion to support $125,000 for the purpose of funding the Conservation Foundation's Mill Pond
So moved?
Accessibility
Second.
Trail. Thank you, thank you. In support, Joanne,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes,
Andy,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes,
welcome.
thank you.
Yes.
Tracy, yes. Chair votes yes, 6-0. All right. We will move on to restoring the legacy of Kate Gould Park. We did receive, well, I guess that was more pertinent to the chamber budget. We did receive some information from Carrie as to who's on the group. It's a smattering across departments. Jeff Dykens is representing the select board on it. Carrie, any color that you want to provide other than who's in the group?
So I did get an email back about who was going to be overseeing the project until there was a new executive director in place. There's a Lauren R. Camano. She's the executive director of Chatham Conservation Foundation. Sorry, Joanne. She said she would be the point of contact for this project as of now until the executive director steps in. And it's anticipated that it could be something that the town would have to oversee as well. And so, but as of right now, that's what I have. Lauren Arcamano. I think I'm saying her name right.
All right, comments or questions? Kristen?
So I thank you for the materials. It was helpful to see the actual CPA application for this. I noted the detailed marketing. My big question all along has been, what's that $25,000 for? I never felt like I got an answer to that, but I see now that some of the money's going towards the production of a brochure and a website, and I'm curious, is it going to be its own website? I mean, this is the Chamber and Merchants, they're getting $25,000 to do this work, or it's still not clear to me who's getting the money. I understand there's going to be a public process and listening sessions, and et cetera, but I'm just curious, like it was so detailed, but who's getting the $25,000? Is it paying Chamber and Merchant staff to do this work?
I thought it was a consultant that they were going to hire and pay.
That was my understanding as well.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was my understanding as well.
okay.
All right, other comments or questions? I guess I'm still a little murky on the structure of this. And why are we giving money to the chamber?
I don't think it's actually going to them. I think they were just the ones that applied for the CPC funding. It's not going to fund them. It's going to this project for Cape Gould Park for the beautification of it. It's not going directly to the chamber, so we're not going to be sending the money to them.
Okay.
That's the fear.
All right, well, that's helpful, because that
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily the case when it was described, I think, to us
Yeah.
initially.
No, it's not going directly to them.
Okay.
But it's the chamber, I'm sorry. It's the Chamber and the Merchants that'll be hiring the consultant.
It's the beautification committee itself.
Is that is that a town-appointed committee? It's just an ad hoc group?
I think it's yeah.
But there is, I don't recall his name, but one of Rob's senior guys is on it from DPW.
Yep, Tom is on it.
Yeah.
Jeff Dykens is on it.
Jeff's on it.
Yeah.
So there is kind of official representation.
And I believe
Still a
it,
little murky, but, Carrie?
I think it's actually going to become an official committee too, so. We'll see.
All right, further
time
comment?
tells.
Barbara, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It just seems like we haven't hired any, they haven't asked for any more, no one's asked for any more people this year, but over the last few years, we have given a number of extra people to the town, including the DPW, and do we have to, I have a visceral objection to consultants doing something with a park that is so, important and integral to our town. Isn't there someone who has been hired or who works for one of our departments that could do this? I mean, is there a working group that might be able to come up with a beautification of this? That's my problem with this.
Well, there is a working group, including representatives, again, from DPW, from the Select Board, and other groups in town. Again, a little murky, but Kristen, please.
Sorry. I think what I understand from the materials that we received is that the consultant is going to be conducting visioning sessions and surveys of the public, what they want there. So we're not at the stage of hiring a consultant landscape designer to do something. It's more, I think the $25,000 is about interacting with the public and seeing what they want there and creating this brochure. I don't know what the purpose of a brochure is these days, but anyway, they have all that's outlined in the details. So the consultant is more about doing that public, receiving public outreach, doing the outreach and receiving public feedback on what they want to see at the park. But it is, I guess we'd always have to remember that this is a town jewel. It's our property. It's the town's property. And I'm happy with the outreach and that effort that's going to go on. I just was curious on who was going to do it, but we don't know that yet.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Joanne,
I'm
please.
happy to vote this amount to get the project started. It's pretty beaten down because we have some wonderful exhibitions and parties going on there, the Oktoberfest, and I think it's really important to the town, and this is a small amount of money compared to the rest of the money we spend, and to get the project started, because here we are talking about it, and I think that's important. And I think between our committee and Historic and the town administration, we can keep an eye on it, but let's get it started, because it's going to be quite a project, I think.
Yeah, sounds like,
Not quickly done. Thanks.
okay. Andy, question? Oh, Mr. Phillips. Approach the bench.
Brian Phillips, 374 Orleans Road. This is a project I've been following pretty closely. I went to the site visit where I initially found out about all of this. They already have plans. They already paid a designer for the plans. I saw them. They were atrocious. They want to put pavers across, it's almost like half the park and make it hardscaping. And to me, it's the centerpiece green space of Chatham, which is downtown Chatham, which is at a premium. And they also, the beautification or chamber, they've already funded, the plans. They have plans, and they fully planned to implement this. The first phase was to get rid of the trees, which they tried to do. Because if you put, the hardscaping there is going to compress and kill all the trees. So the one by the corner was a potential hazard, because I brought my own arborist in to check out the trees. And the two other trees they wanted to cut down to make room for the pavers, I brought an arborist in, they said they were perfectly healthy. And what's kind of funny is after this storm, those were the two trees that survived. There was damage in all the other trees. So to me, this was a very strange process. It seemed like to me they just kind of had their plan, wanted to do it, wanted to cut down the trees. What makes this town great is we're a democracy and we make decisions as a town. And I'm probably starting to ramble, so that's kind of what I have to say. If anyone has any questions for me.
Oh, terrific. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Unless there are further comments or questions, I'll take a motion to support the proposed article of $25,000 to fund the community outreach phase. Oh, I'm sorry. Ann has a hand up. Ann.
Hi, thank you, everyone. I just want to say, as a member of the CPC committee, I do not support this project. However, I do support the idea of creating a working group to oversee this. But the problem with the existing working group is it was not an officially appointed working group by the town. Therefore, they are not subject to the open meeting law. So all of the meetings take place, not publicly, and I have a problem with that. So my suggestion would be to have the select board appoint a working group like all the other working groups we've had that does meet in open session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Andy, please.
If I understand the previous speaker correctly, there's already been a plan drawn up, and so is this to create essentially the rationale for the plan that's already existing? All I mean, come on. Now having heard this speaker talk about the fact that there was no requirement for public meetings, I'm beginning to not like this more and more.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Tracy, please.
Or is this article an effort to change course and involve the public?
Kristen.
And that part is good, but I like what the previous speaker said, that it would be better to have a town-appointed work group where we've got actually public requirements for, access, public access and discussion in an open forum, as opposed to, I mean, I know a little bit of a history on how this kind of morphed, so I would like the opportunity for the select board to appoint a committee that would have to abide by open meeting law.
It sounds like there's increasing agreement that the process has been murky. So, all right, so I will take a motion to support the article.
So moved?
Is there a second? Thank you, Tracy. Support, Joanne?
Yes.
Kristen?
No.
Andy?
No.
Barb?
No.
Tracy?
Yes.
Chair votes no, so that was 2-4. 2-3. Yeah, I just as a sort of an observation, there seems to be kind of an increasing willingness, or maybe not willingness, and that's not the right word, but perhaps tendency to veer away from good, transparent process. I think that could be said about the RTE and how that was approved without input in a 60-minute meeting of the Board of Selectmen. I think this is emblematic of it. We're going to get into the chamber budget in a minute, but I think that's something that I might want to call out in our report to the warrant. It's just sort of this, we just need to tighten up our process on some of these things, out of respect for the taxpayer predominantly. So think about that. Okay, fixed salary elected officials. So the select board recently voted on the initial proposed, which is to increase the salaries of town moderator, select board, each member, select board chair, to $1,500 for the moderator, $6,000 for the select board, and an incremental $1,500 for the chair. Total budgetary impact, $10,800. So I will, I'll ask if there are any comments or questions. Carrie, anything you'd like to say?
Yes, so Joanne had, can you hear me okay? Sorry, I keep pulling it forward.
Thank you.
I'm back. Joanne had some questions about the benefits, health insurance, that kind of thing. So I want to make sure that I get this information to her. So a select board and a moderator are eligible for health, dental, and life at 70-30 split, the same as an employee. The day they start in office. They can also additionally get IMED, but that is 100% out of pocket. Their insurance ends the day they are out of office, and they can elect to get COBRA, but COBRA is at 102%, which includes paying the administrative fee. So there's that. Was there another question that you had on it?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Please, Joanne.
When you say the moderator and the selectman are eligible for the town's medical benefits, what
Health,
percent?
dental, and life, yep.
Say that again?
Health, dental, and life.
Health, dental, and life. So what, for each selectman, if they, say a selectman chooses the three of them, what is the taxpayer paying for them to have that privilege per person?
70%.
What?
70%.
And what does that add up to in money?
It depends on what plan they get.
Say that?
It depends on the plan, because if they're individual or family, it's
Can you give me an approximate?
$20,000 for a family plan.
And who is paying for that?
I
I already know the answer to that question. It's the taxpayer.
It's the taxpayer, yes, but I really want to get you, if you're going to ask me exactly how much somebody is paying, I want to actually look and see how much it is.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
I said, I want to give you an actual figure if that's what you want. I don't want to just estimate.
Well, and for the sake of clarity, if it's 20,000, the town's paying 70% of that,
Yes.
$14,000 for a family plan.
So
Do you have those numbers?
that's just,
I have to look it up.
that's just medical we're talking about,
Yeah, medical and dental.
and dental.
Yep.
And then there's life insurance,
Yeah, life insurance isn't a lot of money usually.
Yeah.
It's just.
but still,
$5,000 plan.
it is, it makes for the tax bill. The taxpayers are paying for that.
Yes, you are right, yes.
Because people
They pay
think,
30%, and then the taxpayer pays the additional 70.
I think they ought to know this before they vote on something like that. And to me, that is a nice stipend. It's just like a stipend, getting the ability to do that, whether a selectman or elected, but is not the other elected officials in town.
No, it's the select board and the moderator.
Why is that? Why would we choose two aspects of the elected positions and not the others to give that benefit to?
Well, town employees do get that benefit.
Say that?
Town employees do get that benefit.
No, elected officials I'm talking about. Isn't the housing authority elected?
I can't answer that.
I believe so.
I'm
The
sorry, I don't know that.
school committee members?
Well, the school committee is on the school. We don't have school. We pay an assessment to the school, so.
But we'll get it back in our assessment. I mean,
I understand where you're going with this, but I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I think we should know the answer to this. I'm not going to vote for this in any way because I don't think the taxpayers realize that they are getting this extra, that the selectmen and the moderator are getting the extra benefits. And I don't, it's okay with me if it's okay with the taxpayers. And I'm sure they're all more than worth this because of the time they spend. But I think the taxpayer didn't realize that it's more than just a stipend that these positions get. And I think it should be, just say, based on that information, I would vote against it.
Okay. Andy, please.
The fact is that this question has been raised numerous times in previous years. There are plenty of taxpayers who are aware of it, but there are also plenty who probably are not aware of it. So, refreshing the data would be great. But, Carrie needs to have an opportunity to look up some actual numbers before we start pounding on it.
Yep, fair enough. So with all of that as background, I'll take a motion to support the proposed increases for a total cost of $10,800 to bump the moderator, select board members, and the chairs.
So moved.
Thank you, Tracy.
Second.
Thank you, Barbara. Joanne?
No.
Kristen?
No.
Andy?
No.
Barbara?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
I support. So it's 3-3. All right. Community Preservation Act, 1533 Main Street. Transfer from the CPA fund the sum of $400,000 for the purpose of funding the 1533 Main Street Affordable Housing Project. We did hear from Town Council, Lisa Mead, It was first chair in negotiating the LDA on behalf of the town with the working group that the town manager put together, that this, it is not restricted by the LDA. In fact, it was kind of anticipated that the community would be asked, or the CPA committee would be asked for funding. So, comments or questions?
I'm ready to move on it.
Would you like to make a motion?
I do make a motion.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Andy? Is that a second?
Sure, I'll second that.
Okay. Comments or questions from the committee? Joanne?
That was a little quick for me, Mr. Chairman. Which article are we working on?
This is Article XX, since they're not numbered. This,
Oh.
the grant of $400,000 to,
I think it's number 43.
43.
okay, for the Buckley property project.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Phillips?
Brian Phillips, 374 Orleans Road. I guess, question for you I have, is it, should taxpayers be subsidizing a for-profit corporation? I believe they're out of Pennsylvania, so it would be an out-of-state, for-profit corporation. And I guess the other question is, and this is a little bit of a trick question, I'm not trying to make anyone seem silly, but, who voted for this project at town meeting? It's, 10 buildings between 30 and 32 feet tall, about 70 parking spots, a tremendous amount of payment. It's 48 units, a little over 80 bedrooms. It's going to put a lot of strain on our infrastructure. It's, upwards of 16,000 gallons of water a day. Our grid. So I guess, who voted for this at town meeting? I guess the answer is none of us, because this did not go through town meeting. So no one got the opportunity to vote on this. This project did not.
Tracy?
It was circumnavigated. We voted on purchasing the land, but we did not vote on this project.
No, we voted on acquiring the land, and the project was turfed at community development, which has, amongst other, Gloria McPherson, whose job is coordinator of these activities, has tremendous experience in Provincetown and elsewhere on these kind of things. And they developed an RFP, which was put out to bid, and they received, I don't remember, 3, maybe 4 proposals conforming with the RFP, and the Affordable Housing Trust members and the Select Board voted to take the Penrose project.
Right. So, and there was a couple projects, and the one I really liked, and a lot of the people in town liked, was the housing, the HAC project, which was home ownership project. And it was, it was really geared towards the middle class, the people that are in rental units that can't afford to buy the houses around here. And I think that was really the project we should have gone with, but we didn't have the choice.
Right, but
Between 3 and 5
but Brian, with all due respect, that ship sailed months and months and months ago. It was determined by the Housing Trust and the Select Board to go with a rental project over there. The HAC is doing stepping stones, as you probably know, which is going to be a rental, is going to be an ownership project. But there's no point in litigating what we think should have happened there, because that's not what's happening there. So, with all due respect.
I just do think it's a, egregious, disconnect in our town government, basically, that 5 people were able to make, the decisions on.
Well, it was more than 5, because the Housing Trust was involved too. There were 2 separate votes by 2 different committees who have carriage of these type of undertakings.
Right, but 2 of them were on the Select Board and the Housing Trust.
Correct.
So they counted twice, so I think it was 5, 7, it was not many, it was a very small amount of people made the decision for this project.
Right, but the decision's been made.
Understood.
Tracy?
I just also wanted to point out that what you what you said demonstrates that there was outreach to the public on multiple occasions for feedback on these projects. And so there had been healthy discussion, and that information was taken in to consideration by the groups responsible.
In developing the RFP.
Right, and I'm well aware of the surveys and stuff and the information that came back, and they totally ignored what, what the majority opinion was of the people that.
Okay, well, again, Brian, we're not here to litigate this. We're here to vote on whether we're going to put $400,000 towards the project. Because that's what we're dealing with. Sure. I understand that you don't believe the process was faithful or appropriate, but, Andy, sorry.
This is going to go to town meeting, where people vote. Let the people speak at town meeting.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I was just trying to sway you guys, because you guys have a big influence over what happens at town meeting. So, right, it's happening, and the thing is they're gonna put that project in whether we give them this money or not, because it's all state and federally, funded through tax credits anyways. So if we give them this money.
Not all of it, but.
You're right, there is a lot of private.
Much of it.
There's private investments too. So I guess another strong objection I have is that we don't know who the investors are. Penrose won't release who the investors on this project are, so we're gonna be giving money to people we don't even know, who it is. And then something I thought was, kind of a loophole that makes me worried is that, that they can sell this project. Like the project up in, by BJ's in Hyannis, where it was like 300 units. I think it took about $90 million to build, and then they turned around and sold it for $300 million. So this is big business, big profit here. And the one thing that really concerned me is if they default on a loan, they can get rid of 75% of the affordable housing units. So one of my main concerns is that, it's being pushed as, affordable housing units, but it's going to turn out to, through what profit corporations do is, make profit, is that it's going to turn into non-affordable housing units. So that's just something I wanted to point out, and that I'm very concerned about looking into the future, because, it's people my age, they're going to have to deal with the consequences of this, 20 years down the road. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Andy, please.
I note that the select board apparently had a split vote on this. In fact, it looks like it did not carry 2 to 3 to zip.
Yeah, so let me see. On the scorecard, they,
What number is it, Andy?
These were
There it is, yeah.
numbers 42 and 43.
2 to 3 to 0, article number 43.
yeah,
And,
2 to 3. And I believe,
which means it does not prevail. So was there any color provided in that?
the CPC articles automatically go to town meeting.
I understand that.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting it not.
I thought that's what you were intending.
No.
So, yeah, they voted against it.
Do we have any color?
Anyone know,
Sorry, Tracy,
did anyone watch that meeting?
I did not.
Which meeting did it come up at? That would be the first question.
What's the?
Which meeting did it arise?
It was last night.
It was. Oh, okay.
So, Kara, do you have any color on what their conversation was? If not, that's fine then.
They were talking about the LDA and the funding inside the LDA, and how one was stated that, one was against the, like, it said something about it won't go back to the town to get more funding, and the other one didn't mention anything at all. So that was kind of the gist of it. And then I guess they, obviously, most of them felt that they didn't want to support it.
Right. But we do have an opinion from council that we're not precluded
Correct,
from soliciting the town for a contribution to the project.
right.
And we also have a record of doing this in Orleans, doing this in Dennis. We're considering doing it in Hyannis. So we have a history of that. Joanne, please.
Mr. Chairman, for $400,000, with as many questions as we have on each side of this, I would vote against it and make sure by the time of town meeting, our taxpayers have all the information they need to make a good, solid vote.
Yep, well, you'll have that opportunity momentarily. Barbara, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If town meeting votes this down, that isn't going to do anything to the contract, is it? I mean, they're still going to have to, Penrose is still going to have to build the project, correct?
Correct. Okay, further comments or questions? Tracy?
I was going to move to support.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Phillips, did you want to say something further?
I go to all select board meetings, and I guess one of the big disputes is, section 2, a D of that is where it says the town's assistance and support here shall not include additional financial support. So it very clearly states in the LDA. So I don't know what the LDAs for the other towns are, why we're giving, but, it says that we should help with, grants, which we did. We got, a big grant. We voted to not do prevailing wages, which cut down on their cost a lot. So we've done a tremendous amount, for this project. And then it specifically says the town's assistance and support held should not include any more financial support. So I know what what they say about lawyers, it's kind of, you get a different opinion or whatever if you put three of them in a room. So I don't know how he could possibly.
Yeah, so I was involved in the meetings that negotiated the LDA, and I think the provision you're referring to is a stipulation that they're not required, the town is not required. But if CPC decides they want to put money into the project through the Housing Trust, they're certainly capable of doing that.
No, I agree.
Yeah, okay.
It just says we're not required to give any more money.
Correct.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? Barbara, yeah, that's right. Thank you, Barbara. Okay, Joanne?
No.
Kristen?
No.
Andy?
No.
Barbara?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
And the chair supports. So 3-3.
I'd be happy to reconsider if we get more information.
Okay. Then we have the same question at 0 Meeting House Road. And this was $100,001. Nice round figure. Is there a motion to support? Tracy?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, Joanne, support?
Yes.
And Kristen?
Still concerned about the select board's vote, so I'm going to vote no.
Okay. Andy?
Nope, same issue.
Barbara?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. So 4-2 on this one.
I didn't, Mr. Chair, I didn't realize which issue we were voting. I thought we were voting on the historic harbor master, but,
No, we were voting
said-
on 0 Meeting House Road, affordable and attainable housing.
so we're doing the same, exactly.
Yeah, put the scorecard down, because that's not relevant to what we're
Oh,
looking at here.
okay.
So, would you wish to change your vote?
Yes, I meant, I would have
Okay, so
voted
let's do this
no.
again. I'll take we have a motion.
Sorry to cause
And
you.
a second to support the town putting $100,001 into the affordable attainable housing project at 0 Meeting House Road. So I'll call the roll again. Joanne?
No.
Kristen?
No.
Andy?
No.
Barbara?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Chair supports 3-3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. All right. So the only thing, Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, well, we have two things. We've got the Assistance Resource Center, which I wanted to hold because Barbara had some questions with respect to that, if I'm not mistaken.
What was it again?
This is the Assistance Resource Center in Hyannis for the homeless shelter.
Yes, I did. I wondered if there were any stipulations on the people who could avail themselves of this property.
I did not get a response back from that. I did send it out, but I didn't receive anything back. And I don't know if it was due to the storm, but I haven't heard from anybody on that.
Yeah, so I would,
Not ready to vote
Sorry.
on this.
yeah, I would suggest, given the storm, that we hold on voting this one for the time being, until we can see if we can't get the information that was requested.
Yep. Just to go back to, I wanted to get you I was just looking around, and I was able to find the rates for this year for the health insurance. And so I just didn't want to quote my stuff wrong. But there's multiple different plans, so I'm not going to get into every detail of the specifics, but I will say that for an individual plan, for a low plan, for HMO, Harvard Pilgrim, and a dental plan for an individual, it would cost the town around $9,000 a year. And then for a family plan on the higher PPO plan for Blue Cross Blue Shield, with also a family plan of dental, it would cost the town around $26,000.
I appreciate the information.
You're
And
welcome.
that's exactly what I was just looking for, it's just the information.
Yep,
Thank you.
I know, I just didn't want to say anything incorrect, so.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Sure, thank you, Carrie. Tracy's got her finger on the mic.
Carrie, do you happen to know if the bulk of the select board moderator use the health insurance option?
Can't answer.
You know,
Yeah, that's probably a HIPAA.
Correct.
Yep.
my point with asking is that it's sort of a huge deal to like change your health insurance just for like, you know, a couple years. I would imagine if you've got your own health insurance and you're happy with it, you probably wouldn't change.
Joanne, please.
My intention, Mr. Chair, just to inform the taxpayers of what is available, what we already do for the selectmen who run as supposedly because they love their community and they want to serve as we do, without compensation. But I want them, the public, to know what is available to the people who are elected. And we're saying, we're not talking about the Housing Authority, which I believe is an elective position. And we're not talking about.
I don't think anybody disputes the legitimacy of the question.
Okay,
I'm glad you did.
okay,
Yeah, we're good.
thanks.
You're welcome. So the only thing, Carrie, that I think we've got hanging out, and I've not referred back to the scorecard, is the Chamber of Commerce budget. And we did receive some information, still, to use my phrase of the day, murky, from my perspective. And honestly, I still don't understand the structure of having all the for-profit stuff in one entity and all the overhead and expenses in a separate entity. And again, if I was going to submit a P&L to somebody, it would not look like what we received. Any comments or questions on the chamber budget and the information we received? There being none, is there a motion to support the $95,000? Oh, Carrie, you look like you're about to say something.
The $95,000 is in the operating budget that you already voted on.
Oh, shit. All right, that's good. No wonder I couldn't find it on the scorecard. Okay, great. Maybe next year.
Okay, so what is outstanding on the articles? You are still waiting for,
So we're
The
waiting for
assistance.
information on the project, the Catholic Charities Hyannis Assistance Resource Center.
okay.
Rolls right off the tongue. Joanne?
One more general question, Mr. Chair. Carrie, can you give us an update on how the town is doing with the lighting and the repairs to everybody in town?
Well, let's hold that
Okay.
let's focus again on kind of where we are, what we need to get done. So we've got the schools, right? We've got the project in Hyannis.
The schools we're waiting on.
Correct, and that's not coming in for another 10 days or so, maybe 2 weeks. Stepping Stones Road, Community Housing Fund appropriation for Stepping Stones Road, which hasn't come before us yet. Acceptance of a bequest from the estate of Patricia Ford. Property at 63 George Ryder Road. We've not heard that yet. Home rule petition regarding housing restrictions, lease to local, no action yet. So we're pretty much through. ADU bylaw, Boston Gas Company easement. So largely cats and dogs at this point, with all due respect to the cats and dogs. So Carrie, what do you think?
Well, there was one item only that I had on the agenda for next Tuesday, and I think ultimately we're probably going to remove it from the agenda. So I really don't have much of anything.
Okay, so I think, as we discussed earlier today, Carrie and I discussed, I think we're going to declare another snow day for Tuesday, so everybody can get their sled out and head over to Eastwood Ho and get a few runs in.
We're not actually supposed to get more snow, are we?
Yeah, lots. Which is a nice segue into Joanne's question. Do we have any information on the status of electrical service? The only thing I heard was the recording that I imagine everybody got saying that it was going to be done by 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. So.
The majority.
The majority? Okay.
They were clear to say the majority would be done by that point. I know that there has been, all day, they've been giving us different timelines for the airport, which I would love to go on the record and say that it's distressing for 16 years that we lose power quite often at the airport, and it never seems to be a priority to hit George Ryder, even though the police station, the town annex, and the airport are on it. Just putting that out there. There's been some really major damage to the three-phase wires, and so I know they have been working today on restringing 2 of the three-phase just here on George Ryder. So I wouldn't hold my breath.
Okay. Well, that's our implicit report from small businesses in Chatham.
Take that for whatever.
Okay, further comments or questions? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Everybody's digging this so much.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Joanne?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
The chair supports. Enjoy your snow day. Thank you very much, and more to come.
God help us all.
Yeah.
Tracy?